I'm gonna turn this tiny little room into a fully functioning YouTube studio. Before I can start this, I want to clear out everything from this room to see how much space I'm actually working with. While I'm cleaning all of this up, let me get you up to speed on the plan. The first thing we're going to work on is the framing of the shot, because I want to see if I can make this room feel less cramped than it actually is. The second thing I want to work on is the lighting. And right now, this room is just way too dark for my camera. And finally, we're going to work on decorating this room, because at the moment, it's giving us some serious Guantanamo Bay vibes. So that's my plan for turning this tiny little room that I never use into something amazing. The space is now completely clear, so let's see what we're actually working with. So we're working with 1.7 meters by 2 meters. That's a Mini Cooper with the front cut off. And I have to fit everything in this small space. So desk, lighting, storage, decoration, space for the camera, everything. Wish me luck. The first thing we're going to do is sort the framing of the shot. Now, in the old setup, you could see both these walls, which made the space feel super cramped. Ideally, I don't want any side walls visible in the picture, so that it just looks like I'm filming in a big open space. Now, the biggest wall I have is this one, so I'm gonna try and set everything up so that this is in the background. Let's see how that goes. So the room's not wide enough, because behind the table, I'm gonna need some space for some cameras and some lights. And then here, when I sit down, I don't exactly have much space behind me, so I won't be able to add decorations. And every time I lean back, so we need to think of a better solution. The only other way I can think of setting this up so that I don't have sidewalls in the shot is to film into a corner. So let's try that setup. This looks a lot more promising. So in front of my desk, I've got quite a bit of space so I could set up the camera, and I've got space for lights. And behind me, I've got much more space, and it doesn't feel so cramped. I've been moving the camera around, and I now have a good idea of what the final shot is going to look like. But my guess is that this video still looks like shit. And that's because this room is way too dark for this camera. So before I set up my lights, let me show you what I'm currently working with. So I've got this bulb in the ceiling, which is pretty rubbish. And I also have this one singular ceiling light, which pretty much does nothing as well. So yeah, pretty rubbish. To remedy this problem, I've gone and I've bought myself the sun. Let me introduce you to the sun. This is a 200 watt light, which is about 40 times more powerful than anything I've got going on in this room. And yes, I know this might be just slightly overkill, but hear me out. I knew I was only going to have space for one studio light, and I've never really bought anything like this before, so I had no idea how powerful I had to go. So we know it's definitely powerful enough, but at the moment it's creating these harsh shadows with super defined edges, which don't look that good. This happens when the apparent size of the light source is much smaller than the object it's lighting up. Now, this is overkill, but it was on Facebook Marketplace at an amazing deal. So I just got excited and bought it without really thinking how big this damn thing is. Because, to be honest, I don't even know if I can make this fit anywhere. I mean, this is pretty much the same width as the whole room. I've bought it now, so I'm gonna try and set everything up and see what it looks like. I've just set everything up, and let me show you the monster. So we have our 200-watt light connected to our 120 centimeter softbox, which is lighting up the studio. And this is only 30% light. So let's see what I'm going to be looking at when I'm doing the videos. Look at the size of that light source. Now, if that doesn't do the trick, then yeah, I have no more excuses. And look at this! I'm standing so close to this wall, and you can hardly see my shadows. How cool's that? Right, I'm gonna put the camera down where it's supposed to be, and let's decorate this place. I've watched more YouTube than I care to admit, but that has given me a good idea of how I want my setup to look like, which is good because now I can just claim I was using all that time doing research. And luckily, I already have most of this stuff around my flat. If we go into my kitchen, I have this shelf that I kind of use as a pantry and as an obstacle on which I can stub my toe. I really hate this shelf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything from the shelf and I'm going to move it into this cabinet that I've just installed, which means I have a free shelf for my studio and I won't be stubbing my toe anymore, which is a major win. The shelf is now in the studio, and I think that this is the right spot for it. However, I do think that the shelf is quite tall. I'd like the shelf to be about here so that people can actually see what's on it. So, if I take my screwdriver and I wave it around, nothing happens because this is a screwdriver. But what I do have is one of these. So I'll see you back in a few minutes. The shelf is now cut and I think it looks much better at this height. Now, this shelf is really going to be a game changer. The shelves that are in frame are obviously going to be used for displaying stuff, but the shelves that aren't in frame are going to be used to store all my gear, which is great because previously I hid stuff all around the house and it was such a hassle to get everything set up for a video. So if everything is there, setup is going to be so much easier, such a game changer. The next thing I want to place is the plant. And the great thing about this plant is that it's already dead. That's right, I can put it wherever the hell I want. But to be honest, I think it's going to be sat kind of on this side, somewhere here along this wall. So it'll look something like this. Now, all that's left to do is to fill up these empty walls. I had a long, hard think about what kind of art stuff would best fit the vibe of the channel. Like, should I just buy it? Should I do it myself? Should I put up a poster? And finally, I decided to give up. That's right. I couldn't make a decision, so for the moment, we're just going to be putting up some placeholders, and this will be a problem for future Ralph to figure out. So there you go. I've been doing some final tweaking, and this is the final result. Let me take you for a tour. Yeah, we've seen this shelf before, but what I've done is I've also added a bottom section here for additional storage, and it's just out of frame so you can see it. Wow. I also had this LED light that I had lying around. This gives us a nice little touch of color on the background. And I also have some placeholders which will be replaced by whatever it is I decide to do. I've got my plant here, and if we go behind the scenes, I've cleaned everything up. So we've got some cable management going along the floor, and all the cables are hidden in this drawer. But the best thing about all of this is that I've managed to fit it all in the original 1.7 by 2 meters. I mean, look, the whole studio goes up to this tape, which means I still have access to my room without having to move anything. So that is a massive success. That's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one, which will hopefully be sooner than in the next 3 months. Ciao!